Daisy, obviously a huge week for the club. Your first win as coach. How have you soaked it up this week?
With a fair bit of hard work, really. We know we're sort of early in our journey building as a team, so straight back into it. The beauty of an 8-day break is we could get 3 training sessions in, so the opportunity to enjoy it on the day on Friday and recover over the weekend. But players, came back with a good little injection of belief and energy that a win gives you first up, but then our real intent has been to use that to be productive this week and keep improving on the things that we want to work on, because whilst we were happy with the result in certain parts of the game, there's always things to work on. So, good opportunity to do that this week.
You mentioned the atmosphere. Have you yourself seen a difference between kind of pre-season to getting that win now this week in your own kind of delivery of your messages and everything you've been putting in?
No, I've always found this group to be really receptive and a real will to learn. Probably off the back of 2 disappointing performances or in our practice matches, it was, it certainly doesn't help the energy and belief. So we kind of came out of the St Kilda game, which was our second practice match, and saw we had 6 sessions to go to work on some of the things that we really thought we had to improve on. And in the Richmond game, we got a really good response in those particular areas. So, I think the difference is they get that little bit of nourishment that, okay, we can address these things as we go and get a turnaround in them. And, heading into this week, far out, what can we do with 3 sessions now? But in terms of willingness to learn and appetite to want to improve, not a big difference, because it's similar to what we've seen throughout the autumn series and our pre-season.
Ali, you guys pulled the coach into the song after the game and gave her a bit of a Gatorade shower after. What did that mean to you to celebrate with Daisy, but also just the group as a whole?
Oh, it was massive, hey. So awesome to celebrate with new teammates, like Daisy would be feeling it as well, just a new group. We're getting really connected, which is really exciting. So, to celebrate as a group was just massive, and we had to pull Daisy in because it was such a big win for her as well. Like, first game coaching and already had success. That just speaks of her career in football so far, so it was awesome.
And we saw a lot of your families kind of pulled in as well at the end of the game. What is it? Is that something that the group's really trying to enforce, to bring in those relationships?
Yeah, it's felt like since I've been here, it's been a really inclusive club, always including the families. And for all the debutants on Friday, it was awesome. Like, all their families were there, and we just roped them in and made them a part of the big day. So it was amazing to have everybody there.
Speaking of debutants, it looks like the depth on the list is going to be tested early in the season again. Any strategy from you, Daisy, coming into this week's clash?
With debutants in particular, or?
Yeah, I mean, the injury list is looking pretty extensive for so early into the season.
A really positive day today. We actually got 4 of those through, so we'll have much better availability this week. Emma Swanson trained really well today, which was a bit of a stepping stone for her availability, and it was really positive, so we'd expect that she'll play on the weekend. Jamie Harkin, who had a little ankle in the warm-up, will be available. Octavia Di Donato, who was one of our injury replacement players coming off a quad's, available this week. Who else? Who have I forgotten? And Bella Lewis was the other really pleasing one. Got injured late in the game last week, but both her ankle and knee were a concern after that, and she's come up okay and trained well today as well. Yeah. So it's good that round 2 we'll probably have an issue with selection, which is difficult. Everyone wants to play, particularly after a positive start. But yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Breathing a bit of a sigh of relief then, having all those players essentially testing well through training.
Yeah. Particularly with Bella, with her going down sore in the game, it was a good one. But the availability as it continues to improve will be a good thing.
Across the next couple of weeks, you do have a fair amount of games. I think it's 4 in 15 days or something like that. How do you manage the players through that period?
It probably comes down to being strategic with your training load. So, rather than we'd have that as a backup plan to have to manage them game-wise. But instead kind of treat the games like our main sessions. With the main training we do, you try and mimic or mirror what a game would demand loading-wise. So the best way of training is to play is kind of how we look at it, and the depth is a big factor and we'll be challenged in that time, and making sure that we've got players available through then will be important. But it goes into the portfolio of our high performance manager, Wes, who does a really good job with that kind of thing, planning and making sure that training allows for maximising performance on the game days. Yeah.
Just looking at the Bombers, the Dockers ran away with that game in the second half. Have you had a chance to review that clash, and what do they bring to your side in terms of what you have to counter them?
Yeah, we're expecting Essendon. I mean, they made finals last year off the back of really strong contest work. They were a good clearance, contested possession team, good at keeping the ball in their forward half. And they sustained that for probably 3 quarters against a really strong Fremantle side who we had a taste of a couple of weeks ago ourselves. And I think the other factor in the Essendon game is you lose 2 players in the same contest in the first quarter. It becomes hard to cover as the game wears on. So we are expecting a really high pressure game, high tackle count, high stoppages, and contests and clearance and that territory game being a really important thing. So looking forward to testing out a number of things that we've been working really hard on against a team that has been strong in that area.
Speaking of tackle count, I think you led the way, Ali, on the weekend with 10 off the stat sheet. So what can you bring, I guess, if Daisy's saying it's going to be a high contested clash? How do you make sure you do it again this week?
I just start talking about that sort of stuff, the contested ball and stuff, and that gets me excited. So I'm pretty pumped and up for the challenge, and I know a lot of our girls are. That win that we had on Friday just gave us so much belief, and I think as soon as we finished, the first half, we were like, when can we go out and play the second half? And I think it's the same thing. We finished that game, we're like, well, when can we go out and play again? Obviously, we have to wait to recover a little bit, but we're excited for the challenge and we can't wait to get out there and compete.
And Daisy, what does bringing in players like Ali and obviously Jess Hosking as well, what do bringing in those players do for the group as a whole, being so young and experienced?
Yeah, well, we brought them in to play really high-level football and play their role first and foremost. I think, we speak about their experience and maturity and that kind of thing, but first and foremost, we saw that Drenno's best footy's ahead of us, same with Hosco. They were players that we want in our program, and then I think the weekend showed that with both of them, their ability to go out and play at a really high level. And then the influence they have on the rest of the group is undeniable as well. I mean, Ali's, I've never called you Ali. I know. Feels formal, I thought I'd better go with it. Drenno's work rate is second to none, so the standards she sets with her running capacity, her preparation, her hunger and will to want to improve, you can't keep her out of this place. She's constantly in here, either asking coaches to help her out with things that she wants to keep developing, or better still, she's bringing teammates in with her, often hides it behind, can you help me with this? But she's also helping them. So those kind of traits, setting the standard herself but bringing other people with her is what we thought we'd be getting with Drennan and what we've gotten.